In this video, I'm going to be talking about the first conditional. In the previous lessons, we looked at the zero conditional, and you will notice that I have left this here because over this module, we are going to be building these three separate conditionals. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to ask you to do is to make some predictions for the next week. All right, so get the students into groups and say make some predictions for the next week. So let's go with it will rain tomorrow. Okay, in Manchester that's a pretty solid prediction. Okay, the teacher will give us homework. Generally, that's a pretty good prediction. I will give some homework at some point. And finally, let's say something definite. So the sun will come up tomorrow. Okay, so we've got two things which are likely and one thing that is certain, or you can also say almost certain. Okay, hopefully there will be no natural disaster that means that the sun will not come up tomorrow. Okay, and then get the student to continue that idea by saying, so I will stay at home. The teacher will give us homework. So I will study with my friend. And the sun will come up tomorrow. So I will have breakfast. In this case, it might be a little better if you're talking about certainty. Instead of so, you might want to say and. Okay, the sun will come up and I will have breakfast. Now, right now, we are using simple sentences using will. And one thing that's always really good is to think about how can I say it in a simple way, but then how can I use a different piece of grammar to say the same thing. If you are a student and you are studying for an exam like IELTS or Cambridge, then this technique of knowing which grammar means the same thing but in a better way is a really good way of improving your scores. So, how do we change these into a first conditional? Well, first of all, we need to start with if. So we're going to add if in here. We also need to remove the will. So we're saying if it rains tomorrow, remove the so, and you have I will stay at home. If it rains tomorrow, I will stay at home. Let's do the same thing again. So add the word if, remove the word will, and we also need to put the S here. So if the teacher gives us homework, remove the so, I will study with my friend. Now, in the previous videos, we looked at the difference between if and when for the zero conditional. Here is the big difference between if and when for the first conditional. This is likely or possible. So we're using if. This is also likely or possible. So again, we're using if. But this one down here is certain. As I mentioned, it could be 99% certain or 100% certain. So in this case, we don't add the word if, we add the word when, because we know that this is going to happen in the future. So when the sun, remove the will, add the S. When the sun comes up tomorrow, remove the and replace with a comma. When the sun comes up tomorrow, I will have breakfast. So let's have a look over here and let's add to our table. So we are now talking about the first conditional. What is it used for? Past, present, or future? Well, we've got the word will, so we can say that it's for the future. It's also for likely or possible situations, something that could happen or you think will happen, and it's also used for things you are certain about. I am certain that I will eat something later today, so when I eat something, I will have a drink with my food. Okay? Your structure, we've got if or when. Remember, if for likely or possible, when for certain, plus subject, plus present. Notice that we had to add that S in these cases. Then we have a comma, and then we have subject plus will plus infinitive. Now this is where it's really important. The first half of the sentence, we are using the S's. But in the second half of the sentence, you are using the infinitive. So, if I change this down here to he, this does not change. He will have breakfast. You cannot say he will has breakfast. So you've got the infinitive there with the S. Sorry, you've got the present simple there with the S. You've got the infinitive down there with no S. Okay? And over here, I'm going to add, if it rains tomorrow, I will carry an umbrella. And that's it for the first conditional. Join me in the next video when we will be completing this table by talking about the second conditional. Take care.